What happens when a court tells a mother she can't take her daughter to church, can't read the Bible with her, and can't let her daughter talk to anyone from her congregation? Well, that's exactly what happened in the Emily Bickford case in Maine. And the implications for religious freedom in America are massive. Let me show you what's unfolding right now. Hi, I'm Mark Bates. This is Rabbit Room Apologetics. This is a little different. This came across my news feed recently. And for anyone who thinks that, you know, America is not going to persecute Christians, well, this just throws that completely out the window. Okay? Now, we'll talk about this case. So here's a summary of what's happening right now with the Emily Bickford case, custody case in Portland, Maine. And that's as of this month. Now, if you want more details, go ahead and look them up. There's some news stories and there are some releases from some of the attorneys, but there's not a great deal of information out there. Okay? So, what this case is about: in December of 2024, a district court in Maine issued a custody order involving Bickford and her 12-year-old daughter, referred to in some reports as Ava, right? So we think we have her name. This custody order bars Bickford from taking her daughter to Calvary Chapel in Westbrook, Portland. Having lived in Portland for 14 years, I know where that one is. It's actually not a bad little neighborhood, and it's a very good little Calvary Chapel. So she's barred from taking her daughter to the church services there, reading the Bible with her, or allowing her to associate with church members. Okay? The court gave the girl's father, Matthew Bradeen, exclusive authority over all religious decisions for the child, including which church she attends. And he doesn't attend church, is my understanding, so she's not ever going to go to church at this point. Whether she reads religious literature and even can contact with other churchgoers. Okay? The reasoning, according to the lower court, is that what they're teaching at Calvary Chapel include topics like hell, demons, spiritual warfare, and salvation. I mean, that's a Bible-believing church. And the father had presented expert testimony from, in my opinion only, some quack that he called in and flew in for this, characterizing the church as cultic. Okay? So yeah, if you're going to a Bible-believing church, it's cultic. So what's happening now? So there was an appeal that was applied that they appealed the order that went in on November 13th of 2025 at the Maine Supreme Judicial Court. Heard the oral arguments at that point of Bickford versus Bradeen. Okay, and there is some news about what happened on the court. Bickford is represented by Liberty Counsel. It's a group I have done some, full disclosure, I have given some support to. So I think they do some good work. It's a legal organization advocating religious freedom claims, right? Their argument that the lower court order violates her constitutional rights, particularly under the First Amendment, because it treats mainstream Christian worship as presumptively harmful and denies her the ability to practice her faith and with her daughter. On the other side, the father's team argues the decision was necessary to protect the child from emotional or psychological harm. They say the evidence that the daughter was having anxiety, panic attacks, and fear over the rapture justified restricting the mother's access to certain religious activities for the child's well-being. And once again, there's a news report on that. Okay, let's break this down here. legal observers and faith freedom advocates say this case could set a precedent for our courts, excuse me, treat religious upbringing in custody disputes. One parent is not a Christian, does not believe in the tenets of Christianity, and one parent becomes a Christian or is a Christian and wants to go to a Bible-believing church, right? It would be even worse if one of the parents were LGBTQ or something, I guess, right? That's my opinion. I don't know. That's not in the court documents anywhere. But particularly whether a court can declare a widely practiced religious tradition as psychologically harmful and effectively erase one parent's religious instruction rights. This is just off the wall. But so critics are worrying that if the order is upheld, it opens the door for greater judicial interference in parents' rights to raise their children's faith, potentially allowing one parent to veto a child's religious education, even absent neglect or abuse. Excuse me, I'm sorry. There is no publicly announced date for when the Maine Supreme Judicial Court will issue its decision. Once again, I lived in Maine for 14 years. One of the reasons I don't live in Maine anymore is stuff like this. I have no faith that the Maine Supreme Judicial Court will rule against the lower court here. This is just very common in Maine, who is one of the most anti-Christian states out there. It is, as of last year, when I checked it, it was the second least churched state. It had the least amount of people who went to a church. Second per capita, right? The most per capita was right there in New England as well. So whatever happened to New England? But they are very anti-Christian there. And it's one of the reasons I left the state. Bickford and her legal team have emphasized the urgency of a ruling, especially with the holiday season approaching, when church attendance and religious gatherings are common. And once again, I have no faith that this Maine Supreme Judicial Court will reverse this decision. So, yes, they're actually practicing lawfare against Christians, guys. So, if you hadn't heard about this, look into it. Think about supporting Liberty or the American Liberty Justice Group. Both of them support Christians who are being sued for ridiculous reasons. And just keep that in mind. Keep this in prayer. But watch for it, because despite the fact that we think conservatives are coming up stronger in the elections, the crazies have had access to the courts for so long that they're winning a lot of those battles. And just be prepared, folks. If you're a Christian, let me know if this affects you, or if this, this affects you, your thinking about what's happening in this country. And if you're not a strong Christian, start thinking about it, right? Ask questions about it. I encourage you to like and share and subscribe to this channel. It helps us a great deal, so thank you. Also, look in the description. Here, there are 2 links on there. One is to my Bible study platform. It's $10 a month. You get all the videos with full transcripts if you want to really delve in deep. And also, I put a lot of videos out there that are not included on YouTube, that are broken down in different courses to help you expand your ability to say that you're studying theology. And theology is just the study of God. And I want, the whole goal here is for you to become comfortable making your own theological decisions. Nothing against what your pastor or, whoever's leading your Bible studies are giving you, but you should be as good as they are. And that's my whole goal, is to give you a large amount of information that you may not get just coming in to a Sunday service. So think about that, right? Also, the Bible study platform is community. There's a forum on there. You can ask questions, and I'll answer every question on there. I will. Other people will answer questions. It's the whole idea is for everyone to talk, to gain experience talking with each other, and right, iron sharpens iron for us to all get better at what we do. So think about that. The other link is to provides a discount if you don't already have something. The Logos Bible Study software that I've been using for over 25 years. They're now on a subscription platform basis, which makes the entry cost very low. But this gives you just another discount on top of that. So just think about that. And thank you all very much. And we'll talk to you later.